often talk about electric cars. However, I don't own one. So today we've brought along Colm, who's a two-time Kia EV6 owner, to pick your brains and see what it's like. So very welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much.
I first have to ask, why did you decide to go for a fully electric car?
I went for a fully electric car because I know that's how things are going. I also drive quite a lot with work. They're more economical. They are, I know from other people who had them before me that they're a smooth drive. And then just a lot of the new cars that were out when I was looking, just there were more and more EVs. So then I started exploring it. Initially, I actually went against it, and then I did a little bit more research and I figured out it was actually going to work well. So yeah, just those different things, costs, choice, and yeah, because the amount I drive. So it just all different factors pointed to getting an EV.
So Colin, when it comes to electric cars, we all know there is millions of options. So what landed you on the EV6?
When I was looking for a family car. So I suppose SUVs, and at the time there were 4 main models to look at. All of the EV6 just was hands down the one I was going for. I'd like to finish inside. It was a local dealership, Jack Doran Motors, which was, I suppose, a contributing factor as well. I just like how the car looked. It was like something that I'd never really seen before. And that was the main thing, really, you know. Obviously, like other things as well, they're all fairly similar priced. They all had fairly similar ranges. The EV, well, this is the second model now, but the original model was up to around 520 or so. But those different things. But the main thing was, I suppose, was how the car looked. I just loved how it looked, so that's why I chose that over the other models.
And in the real world, what type of range are you finding you're actually getting?
Well, in the real world, I suppose, at a full charge. Well, this one now, I've got it once or twice at a full charge over to 600 kilometers. Yeah, a couple of times. And funny enough, the very, very last charge I had in the previous EV6 was at around 540 because I hadn't hit a motorway in a very long time. But look, if you're doing motorway driving across the country, you'll get around 450 kilometers, and this one you might even get a bit more. But it all depends on your driving. Motorway driving, you're going to get between 450 and 500 kilometers. And I would say if you're doing local driving, you'll get the best part of the 600 kilometers out of it, you know.
So I have to ask, you are one of the first people I know who's, I suppose because you're an early adopter, you've bought a second EV. How was the depreciation? Was it as bad as people think it is?
But you know what, that was one of the main reasons for buying the second EV, because I did the figures on the depreciation of the first EV. So I bought the first EV, whatever I got it at, and then I went back to the dealer saying I wanted to change it. And then we ran some numbers and I was looking at the depreciation. Look, the depreciation wasn't great, you know, but then I spoke to a few people that know cars and know about depreciation, etc., maybe a little bit more than I did. I gave them the figures, and while the figures weren't great, the thing that kind of took away, that softened the blow, I suppose, was the fact that the depreciation of the first EV6 that I got in 2022 and the figure that I was getting for it in 2025, it wasn't too much of the difference of the depreciation of a petrol or a diesel car. So yeah, it wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as you might think.
And your savings are nearly offsetting that then?
Exactly, that's the other thing, is that if you have a car charger at home, and what you're saving on fuel, weekly, monthly, whatever way you look at it, yeah, it kind of cancels it out.
And I suppose driving an electric car, it's a little bit different. A, it's automatic, but B, the way it delivers power, all the tech. How have you found adapting to that?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely different from driving. It's an ICE car, isn't that what they are? Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's different to that. Way more poke. It's smoother, you're not going through gears, so it's different, but it's a good different, you know? You're kind of going, well, I don't have to change cars the whole time. If you're going from a diesel car that's an automatic to this, it's not that big a change, which I think I might have been. But yeah, look, I switched over fairly easily. I didn't think there was too much of a difference or transition. And then all the tech is handy, particularly as we're coming into the colder months, which we are now. So I'll try not to have the smug look on my face when the car is frozen. and I'm in my house defrosting the window while other people are going out with their kettles.
Or when there's a storm and you're sending power back into the house.
Exactly, yeah, that's different as well, which I have seen done an awful lot online. I've never done it myself, but I do know if that ever happens that I do have the option of a bit of juice for electricity in the car out the front.
So Colm, you're out there driving this day to day, long journeys. How are you finding the public infrastructure?
Public infrastructure is fine. You're only using the public infrastructure if you're traveling really long journeys regularly. So like if you're going, like we're in Drogheda now, going from Drogheda to Dublin the whole time, and if you have a car charger at home, you're not going to need to use the public infrastructure. But even if you do, you're only going to need to use it once every now and then, in which case then you can go at quieter times, that sort of stuff. Now some of the fast chargers in particular, there's no savings there as much. It's fairly similar to just getting standard diesel or petrol or whatever. But other than that, I have a car charger at home, so I haven't been using it that much. But I do travel quite a bit with work, and when I do, it's cross country. Most journeys are either going to Galway or going to Cork. And it's as simple as you just plan your journey. You know, I have had the EV since January 2022. Funny enough, the very, very first thing I did, and I mean literally, the first journey I did when I got my very first EV, I was handed the car keys, and it was from Jack Dorn's here in Drogheda, and I drove to Mayo. And I remember it was Mark Dorney kind of said to me, because we've never had this before, where the new EV owner's very first journey is across the country. And I said, no, this is the first. Drove out of the garage, went towards Mayo. I didn't even come home. I had the bag packed and I had no hassle. There was a car charger in the hotel. I planned for that as well. So that was fine. Yeah, just plan your journey, know where you're going, take in to effect that you're going to stop for a while. But from here to Galway, from here to Cork, you're going to be stopping anyway.
And my last question is, you're 2 EVs in, will you continue buying EVs from now on?
Yeah, no, I will. Now there are some, I suppose there's pluses and minuses. Minuses are really just in terms of a car devaluing, you know, but not enough that would put me off it. But no, they're a much smoother drive. If you have a car charger at home, you don't need to worry about like EV range, as people refer to it. I like the cars and they're sleeker. So no, I'll be going EV again in the future.
Well, lovely. Listen, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Not at all.
And best of luck with
Thanks for having me.